part of it is most everybody was standing when the bell went off. Good afternoon and welcome to the February 23rd meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville. I'm Walt Kuno, Club President, and I'm Paul Harris Fellow. V. Gates, Marcus. Providing our invocation today is Marcus Blum, consultant and member of the Emerging Leaders Committee. Come on up, Marcus. Marcus came here from Germany, where his father is the president of the local club there. So welcome, Marcus.
I actually have no clue how you got that picture, because I only used it once to apply in Germany, and somehow it went to the database here, so that's interesting. But yeah, it's a lot of you by now already know I'm actually quite new to the country, and just wanted to tell you about something that really impressed me probably the most since I came here. And that is just the backgrounds of people and how they, all their ancestors actually came to the US. And I really cannot tell you how impressive it is when you talk to like different people and you realize how they came to like the US and how they all came together to build a new society while still being proud of their heritage and bringing like the unique things of their culture into this new society. And you're more used to that because you grew up in it, but like it is really like I thought about it, and I think it's pretty unique to the US. I can't think of like another country where this is the case quite that much. And it really seems like everybody has their own story, their own path that led them here, which reminded me of a book I read in, which I cannot recommend to you because it's only in German, but it was about a famous German guy who did the most famous path in Europe, which is a pilgrimage called the Camino de Santiago. It's a pilgrimage from France to Spain, and he wrote, "Today I realized that God was part of my travels all along. To encounter him though, I have to issue an invitation to him. He does not come without being asked, a divine form of good manners. It's up to me to establish an individual relationship with him during my journey." Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. And now, to lead us in the pledge and four-way test is Barbara Lynn Jamison, Director and CEO of the Kentucky Opera and co-chair of our Music and Arts Committee. And I just got to thank Barbara because we've done a Gift of the Magi, Cinderella in a couple of weeks, and we were certainly entertained and inspired by Sankara singing the national anthem and to dream the impossible dream. So please lead us, Barbara Lynn.
President Walt, please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now our four-way crown pledge.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. All right, y'all may be seated, and Rotarians, if you have a guest, make your way back to the microphone. Please introduce yourself first, and then your guest, please stand up. Once our meeting is over today, Craig Sherman will be right over here and presenting what is Rotary. Now, as we start to get to this, we hadn't started our networking yet, folks. Now, the teacher in me wants to do something, but this is like, I'm so glad you all are so energized and active. So we're doing the guest here in a second. As we get ready for that, since I have the microphone, I get to do this anyway. So we have one member, not a guest, who just celebrated his 90th birthday, Bob Maddox. Waiter, there's Bob. And Bob has been a proud Rotarian, I think first from Owensboro, if not somewhere else. Owensboro, Kentucky, my hometown. And I knew Bob way back then. And he's been a member for 38 years, so God bless you, Bob. Thank you. No guests. Oh, there we go.
My guest is George Griffiths with the Lead Solutions Insurance, and welcome, George.
Thank you, George. Hello, Judy.
Hi, I'm brought a neighbor who is not new to Louisville anymore, but still new. And I'm hoping he's going to join today.
Yay.
Frank Oviat lives in Goshen with me. Stand up, Frank. Retired. And Rotary's perfect to fill his retirement years.
Thank you. Hello, Delane.
Hello, Delane Taylor, Executive Director of the club. Welcome, everyone. And I get to welcome 3 people today that are here. We have a corporate membership with Goodwill. And we have 3 guests today that I don't think have been to one of our Rotary meetings yet. Lauren Deering is the community engagement, oh, good grief, I didn't write it down.
Manager of Marketing and Public Relations.
Manager of Marketing and, I wrote down the others, I thought I would remember yours. Manager of Marketing and Public Relations. Ali Hydrid is the Community Engagement Coordinator, and Ben Hayden is the Manager of Public Relations and Community Engagement. Please join me in welcoming them.
Good morning, President Walt. Doug Myers with Simmons Realtors, and I get the privilege of introducing 4 special guests today, 2 of which are here and 2 of which are on their way. So they'll be coming in carrying something special in a few moments. But first, I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth Monarch. Elizabeth Monarch is the president of the Kentucky Realtors Association. It is a membership of about 13,000 people. Also, and my other guests are in the parking lot. So I just got the message. Also with us today is Ann Elizabeth Delahanty, and Ann Elizabeth is the treasurer-elect of the Kentucky Realtors. Thank you, Ann Elizabeth. And then, coming in a few minutes, we will have Linda Fernandez. She is the CEO of the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors with about 5,600 members. And with her, there she is. Here she is. Would you wave your hand, Linda? We just introduced you. And also with Linda is Kimberly Sickles, and Kimberly Sickles is the president of the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors. So, thank you, President.
Okay, as we're going to do networking again here in a second, but since I have the microphone, I get to do what I do. There were several of us, 5 of us, that were reading at the West End School this morning, reading a book called Pound the Stone. It was Ken Salvaggi, I don't know if Ken's here, Rick Harned and his wife Mary Ellen, and Bob Nesmith and me. We just had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. I'm going to be gone the next 2 weeks, so need some folks to fill in. Come to the West End School at 9:40 on Thursdays for the next couple. You will be enriched, and Larry Sloan can talk about it too. It's been a great experience. So that's that, and no good deed goes unpunished. So I go to the West End School, they'll have my tie on, have it laying on my coat, open the car door, out goes the tie, and I drive off here. So I apologize, no tie. Oh. The good news is my wife is working at the West End School, and it was on the street, only been run over twice. So you network away, all right?
how it is, right?
Make sure you get a photo of the group chat.
Okay, folks. Okay, folks. All right, a couple of housekeeping things. I should have done this beforehand, but Linda Bartramore right here, wave, Linda, wave where people, there you go, she's standing up. So she's in charge of our Rotary clubs at Western and Iroquois. Western's having their blood drive. Linda was walking around telling people about that, so the next couple of weeks, she'll have to probably take your name during this time. We'll do it during this time. Second thing, somebody got a raffle ticket for our Walto raffle, great bronze idea, and walked off with the wrong side of the coin. So if you just got one, look and see if it has your name on it. It needs to go to Greg. So look at Greg. Ticket number 8. Ticket number 8. Okay. See Greg. We'll get this again. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, continuing on with our meeting, we have some Rotarians in the spotlight. Now, I was just looking around to make sure that Barry was indeed here. So here's Barry Allen in the back during the 2023 Child Advocacy Day at the Capitol. Kentucky Youth Advocates recognized Rotarian Barry Allen with the Champion for Children Award. Yes. KCAAH Executive Director Terry Brooks, who's been here numerous times, and Barry spoke to our club in November of 2021 about the statewide public policy coalition that Barry is leading around Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACE for short. And that's a big deal from the governor. I mean, we're so proud of Barry, and Barry just lives out service above self. Thank you so much. And also in the news, Doug Myers, I'm just going to tell, he just got reelected to be the Sunday school class president again now. So we go to church together, and Doug did that for 3 years. I've made him speechless now. So Doug was, got another, he was District 6710's parliamentarian, and he's the incoming president of the Kentucky Association of Parliamentarians. I did not know there was such an organization, but our Doug is it. Now, in all seriousness, we're going to welcome Doug Myers, broker associate with Semin Realtors, Paul Harris Fellow, District 6710 parliamentarian, to assist with a special presentation.
Thank you, President Walt, and I'd like to invite Kim Sickles and Elizabeth Delahanty, Linda Fernandez, and Elizabeth Monarch to come up and join us. And one of these ladies is going to speak first.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kimberly Sickles, and I represent the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors, where we have over 5,000 members. We're excited to be a part of your event today. We believe in what it is that you stand for, helping our community. As realtors, we all want to be able to give back and do the best we can in helping attainability, accessibility, affordability, and just being able to bring that home buyer and that seller together. So Doug, he's a member, and he's an active member of our association, and he was the individual that actually brought this to us to bring before you all. In addition, we have our state president, Elizabeth Barnard. We have our president, our treasurer-elect for the state, and Elizabeth Delahanty, and we also have our CEO, Linda Fernandez, here with us. And in conjunction with what we've decided to do as an association, we were matched by the Kentucky Association of Realtors in a total contribution of $10,000.
So just another, Doug just decided to take our West Louisville Housing Initiative to the Louisville Realtors, and it went to the state Realtors, got matching $10,000. For those of you who don't know, that we are raising $5 million for the 9 named neighborhoods for people that cannot qualify for a standard loan. It's an evergreen fund. Every year that it gets paid off, more money goes in. Our $5 million will start between 60 and 70 first-time homeowners. The target is particularly a black woman who has 2 kids and 2 jobs with enough income to pay the mortgage, paying rent now probably in substandard housing, that we're changing into a homeowner to build generational wealth. It's the way Americans have always done it. It's a big deal. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. We have another presentation today. So we're going to welcome Lisa DeJaco Crutcher, CEO of Catholic Charities of Louisville, and her colleague, Amy Nace DeGonda, to provide a brief update on the Vaquita Empowerment Initiative, which several members of our club, including Larry Sloan, Jerry Martin, Barry Barker, and Sharon LaRue, have been involved with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Walt, and thank you to all of you all here in the Rotary for the support that you've shown for Catholic Charities' Vaquita Empowerment Initiative. This is our program that combats human trafficking all around the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm a fairly new Rotary member, and one of the reasons that I chose to become involved was because I was so impressed by the support that you all have given, not only to the West End Project and so many other things that you're doing, but I learned about you through your work with our Vaquita program. So when invited to come and talk a little bit about it, I said I would be happy to, but really the person who knows everything is Amy, and so I thought I'd bring her along and let you hear from her directly about the work that the program has been doing with your support. Amy is the new program director of the Vaquita Empowerment Initiative as of just about a month ago, but she was the assistant director before that and has been working in this area for the last 9 years. So Amy, nice to know.
Thank you so much. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to come and speak about our program again with you all, because I'm so very passionate about the work that we do. I just want to give a little overview of our program for those that might not know. We are the only statewide anti-human trafficking program that provides services to those that have survived both labor and sex trafficking, both male and female, and gender nonconforming of all ages, of foreign-born and domestic. So the big bulk of our work is to provide direct services to those that have been affected by trafficking. The direct services can look like a myriad of things because our program believes it's not a one-size-fits-all, because each person has an individual story and individual needs. And so we work really hard, our case managers, to connect our participants to the types of services that they need that will help them to provide the stability that they need. And so that can look a lot like what you already talked about, housing. So we help connect to housing resources. We're able to provide housing assistance for a time. We connect to food resources, mental health and medical resources, immigration, legal, and also language services, and anything in between. Our joke at the program is we write grants, and we think back, okay, so what did we need, what did our participants need in these last 5 years? And we'll write it all into our grant, right? Because we know that's what we have seen. And then we'll get that grant, and then there'll be a myriad of other things that people need that we didn't think about before. So, we have really great community partnerships because not one program can provide all of the needs for someone we serve. So it is something that's very diverse, and so we make a lot of connections throughout the state. And so we are Louisville-based, right? We're based out of Louisville, but we are so blessed to be able to have an office in Lexington and provide services in that area. And then a nod to you, Walt, we have a new office we've had for about 2 years in Owensboro. And so one of the big things that we have been doing is we added 2 bilingual case managers. One is Lexington and one is in Owensboro. And we have made great strides in Owensboro to be able to, A, get our name out there and let people know what we're doing, but also then to make those connections so that we can serve those people in the Western Kentucky area as well. We also have an arm of our program, which is the Prevention Education Program, and this is for the youth in Kentucky. And so we have what's called My Life, My Choice, and that is a prevention education program that is for female identifying youth that we can do in residential programs, in community and schools. And then we also have what's called I Am, and that is for male identifying youth, and same thing, we can do it in residential and community. And then actually, the majority of our staff are going to Houston, Texas next week, and we are getting trained in a whole new curriculum, which is called Not a Number. And that, actually, the other two, the I Am and My Life, My Choice, are focused more specifically on sex trafficking, but Not a Number focuses on both sex and labor trafficking. And so we're really excited to be able to do that. As soon as we get trained, we're gonna reach out to community and do 3 pilot programs. And then we also do a lot of training and awareness throughout the community. And then, one of the things that's really, really close to our heart that we developed with the help of Rotary several years ago is our advisory board. Because what we identified is the people that know if we are doing the best services or not are those that we have served in the past. So we wanted those that were past participants that have been not connected to services in the last 2 years to help inform our programming. So Rotary was really a big help in being able to put that all together, providing training on what it means to be on a board and all the things connected. And our advisory board is now going into our full 3-year, because COVID kind of put a pause for a minute on that. And I'm happy to say that one of the original board members is actually now the chair. And so he puts together all of the meetings, and he kind of pulls together all of the activities. But we are really excited about that because we want to ensure that our programming continues to be informed by those that have received it, so they can let us know what we're doing well and what we may need to improve on. And we've had several different things from that board, action items come through that we have now changed with our programming because of what they have told us. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak, and thank you so much for your support.
Wasn't that great? Now I'm gonna do a shout out to one of the best darn past presidents we've ever had, Barry Barker. Wave, Barry. There we go. Barry, this was Barry's initiative because it was an initiative of Rotary International when he was president. And so it's really nice to see that programs that we start continue and they make a difference. It makes a difference what we do with what the local realtors and the state realtors did for supporting this, and how we're making, and you all are making, a difference in our world. Just to decide is that you all ought to be talking to Rotarians in every one of the towns in Western Kentucky you served, all over the state, and we can help you do that too. All right, now then, welcome Dr. Rick Smith, Senior Vice President of External Affairs and Economic Partnerships for the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, to introduce this week's speaker. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, President Wald. I'll try to give you that, but that's okay. We'll get it later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I assure you, I do have more than one suit, because I just looked up and I thought, oh, that's the same suit and the same tie that I have on. Total coincidence. My sister there, Barbara, can attest. I've got a few suits, so that is my friend. And I have a little bit more of a beard there too, so a little oops this morning. But anyway, I digress. I am thrilled to be here. Part of the speakers group of Rotary, we had the great pleasure of planning speakers for this Black History Month. And as we wind down Black History Month, I do want to go off script. You never give a former journalist a microphone because he goes too long, but I do want to go off script for just a minute, President Walsh, if I may, and just recognize that we lost a great leader in Kentucky, someone who was really the founder and father of Pan-African Studies at the University of Louisville, Dr. Bob Douglas. Dr. Douglas was a good mentor and friend of mine, so if I could just take just a minute to pause and just a moment of silence to recognize and to honor the contribution of Dr. Douglas. So thank you for that. I've got the great pleasure, ran into my friend Aukram Burton at Dr. Douglas' wake just last week. He and his wife were there displaying to honor Dr. Douglas. Aukram has done so much for not just Kentucky, but around the nation in his work, never-ending work, in recognizing the contributions of people of color and all people. So it's very fitting that in this Black History Month that we have an opportunity to hear from him, a great leader in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And also, I'd be remiss to say that as we celebrate, come to an end of Black History Month, I hope we continue to move toward the fact that we recognize the contributions of African Americans, not just in the shortest month of the year, but throughout the year, as well as all cultures, all ethnicities, who recognize our culture and embrace the good, bad, and ugly that is what is our great country. So with that, I'll get off my soapbox now and get to my script, and I'm at the age where I have to do this kind of, I'm not used to my trifocals yet, so I have to take my glasses off to read. So Aukram serves as a member of the KCAAH Executive Management Team, advancing the mission to enhance the public's knowledge about the history, heritage, and cultural contributions of African Americans in Kentucky and in the African Diaspora. Aukram is a seasoned educator and media artist specializing in developing educational and cultural resources. He has extensive experience in secondary and post-secondary education, including the classroom, administration, executive planning, and media production. His educational background includes studies at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the Center for Advanced Visual Studies, the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and the Center for International Education at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. In 1984, he and his wife, Nefertiti Burton, co-founded the nonprofit organization Middle Passage Educational and Cultural Resources, Inc. in Boston, Massachusetts. Middle Passage provided the media support services, produced and distributed educational and cultural materials both independently and in collaboration with schools, businesses, and community organizations. Aukram's work as an educator, photographer, media producer has taken him around the globe. We just had a great conversation about a recent trip he made to Africa. Maybe he may share some of that with you. He's a frequent visitor there as well as other places. His work depicts people, places, and events in Brazil, China, Colombia, Cuba, Ghana, Haiti, Jamaica, Japan, Nigeria, Panama, Senegal, South Africa, Tibet. I could go on and on and on, and countless places throughout the United States. He has years of experience producing interdisciplinary content for educators on all levels to improve their understanding and practice of global and multicultural education across the curriculum. He's a recipient of multiple recognitions and awards, and he served on numerous boards, including the African American Heritage Foundation Board. So I could go on literally on and on about this gentleman, but I think he didn't come here to hear me, he came here to hear him. So without further ado, my friend, Aukram Burton.
Thank you, Rick. I wish I could put earplugs in because I have done a lot and I hate just hearing it over, but I do appreciate the Rotary for inviting me to share with you the work that we're doing at the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage. But before I get into that, even though Rick has talked about a lot of things I've done, two things that I think are pivotal in terms of my development, especially in my formative years. And that's one, my involvement with the Boy Scouts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's where I was born and raised. And the reason why I bring this up is because we get all this recognition about things that we've done, but I would not be able to do that without the people who mentored me and loved me and surrounded me with encouragement. And so this is a scout. We went to Philmont Scout Range, right? And many of you, if you're involved in scouting, Philmont is like the top of the line. If you go to Philmont, you have done something. And we basically were thrown somewhere in the mountains, and we had to walk 50 miles back with a map and a compass. And whatever we had on our back, that's what we had in terms of food and what have you. But coming out of Philadelphia in an urban situation where you saw the increase of drugs and gangs and things like that, this was one of the things that insulated me and many of my comrades here in order for us to survive. The other thing I want to point out is that this is history. 11 Eagle Scouts, even though it's only 10 here, 11 Eagle Scouts, African American Eagle Scouts, were recognized in 1968. And this was something, we're actually thinking about doing a movie on this because there's a few that are not with us anymore, but a lot of us have accomplished a lot. So I just wanted to point that out. But again, our Scoutmaster, Arthur Groves, was the one who put up with our idioticness, and we were able to make it through. All right, but there's one other thing that I think also had impact on me. I just wanted to show this. This is the class, Eagle Scout class of 1968. And you can see that we're in there. But this represents the whole city of Philadelphia, and it was sponsored by a special agent in charge of the FBI in Philadelphia at the time. He's in the middle. The other one was Tomorrow's Leaders Program. So I know about the Rotary. I've known about the Rotary for quite some time. Counselor came up to me while I was in high school because they knew that I was achieving and doing things, and so he encouraged me to be a part of the Tomorrow's Leaders Program. And so I went to it. I didn't know what it was, but we had a blast. We learned about democracy. We learned about other governing systems, and we had to pick a system, and that system, we had to come up with ways in which to convince others that our system was the best system. All right, I won't go into all the details, but you can see me in the middle there, and if you don't, I got a close-up for you so you can see. So anyway, I'm the executive director of the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage. I basically came across the Heritage Center very early on in its development was it 1999, when I was hired to be an administrator in the Jefferson County Public Schools. I say Boston because I've been in the Boston public school system as a teacher and an administrator, and then the Charlotte Mecklenburg schools as an administrator, and then I came here, I was recruited here by Dr. Bernard Minnis, who's no longer with us. But he was such a mentor to me. I learned so much from him. And so anyway, he said, when you start, I want to take you to lunch. And I want you to meet someone. He never told me who it was, And so sure enough, that week he said, I'm taking you to lunch. And I went down on Guthrie Street and had lunch with Celeste Lanier. And Celeste Lanier was the brainchild of the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage. And Bernard knew right away that I would be hooked. Celeste and I became very close. I worked very tirelessly in the school system to get the school system to be a part of the development of the center. And as a result, I wrote a memorandum of agreement that the board approved, which then gave me the ability to be on the board. So I joined the board in 2007. Many of you may know that there was a little hiccup in our development. I won't go into all of those details, but as a result, Celeste resigned from her position. All right, and so the board was in a quandary in terms of what we were going to do. Many wanted to close the doors, others wanted to maybe open it for 2 or 3 days. I was the one who was advocating, well, look, whatever we do, we have to begin to think about our mission and how we're going to maintain that mission, which is to preserve and promote Kentucky African American heritage and history. And so my proposal is that we have one asset, right, that we need to exploit, and that is space. And because we were supposed to put up exhibits, it was supposed to be a museum. The original plan was it was supposed to be a museum. So as a result, what happened was that we had to rebrand ourselves, which became very difficult because the community was already hyped about what it was we were going to do. And then when all of this took place, it just was really, really, really difficult. So I retired. I'm going to fast forward. I retired in 2013 from the school department. Actually, I didn't retire. I retreated. You know, they gave me a retirement party, and I said, "This is not a retire. I'm not retiring." And slowly, I got pulled into being the leader of this institution, which I don't have any regrets whatsoever, because I really feel like I'm doing something that's of service to the community. It may not be understood today, but maybe down the road it will be. I want to go forward. If you see this is our logo. A lot of people don't realize that this logo is the state of Kentucky. It's the state of Kentucky, all right? And that it makes the silhouette of a griot. And many of you know that the griot is the person who conveys history of a people, all right? And so that's our brand. That's what we do. And that's what we're about. And then you see the lines, those are related to another aspect of our brand, which is many rivers to cross, all right? And that's a play on the fact that we are children of the Nile River in Africa. We suffered the horrors of the Middle Passage, all right, which is the Atlantic Ocean. And the Ohio River was our place to gain freedom from enslavement. All right, so those bodies of water, when we say many rivers to cross, that's what we're talking about. So that's what's embedded in our logo, and that's what we try to convey to people who come through our doors. We stand on the shoulders of many people. This is the original board. I will say that the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage first started out as the African American Heritage Committee, all right? Then it morphed into the African American Heritage Foundation, which is the foundation, is governing foundation right now for the center. And so, in terms of the foundation, the committee first started going around erecting historical markers. You will see many of the historical markers. If you go downtown, you'll see markers of the slave pen markers, what have you. Well, the committee did that and did markers all around Kentucky, recognizing different places like the Russell community, Griffeytown, you name it, right? And these are all historic places that came about as a result of the end of slavery. And so people got excited about what they were doing and said, you need your own space. And so these are some of the markers that you see here. And they are, available for you to go. There's maps and more details about each of these markers. We just celebrated a peace park that was developed in Shively in name of the Wade family. This is the family whose home was bombed because they purchased a home in a white community in Shively. Shively has transformed tremendously. So there's a peace park not too far from where their house is. We also have we erected a marker for Harvey C. Russell, who is a renowned educator here in Kentucky, or was a renowned educator here in Kentucky. And so what happened was that we got so popular, people say you need your own space. So 18th, we're located at 18th and Muhammad Ali Boulevard, formerly known Walnut Street. And at the time it was considered a brownfield, all right, meaning that the Environmental Protection Agency said this can be used, right? So we had specialists come in and determine how much dirt we would need to neutralize it, and it was doable. We were able to get some funding to do that. And then we lucked up again, the two bridges, the bridges project came online, and we had an appropriation of $28 million to renovate the old trolley barn. A lot of people say, well, what's the connection to the bridges and the trolley barn? Well, the fact is the trolley barn was a transportation hub, all right? And moreover, it was also the area in which there was great protest 4 years after the abolition of slavery. Mary Cunningham Smith and the Fox brothers, and I'll speak about this in a few minutes, used to attend Quinn Chapel. Fiery minister at the time, really got people riled up about the fact that, you know, the discriminatory laws and practices on public transportation cannot be tolerated, and so they protest. All right, so they would go on a Sunday, and then Sunday best, and then after church they would go and they would intentionally protest. Mary Cunningham Smith and her stepson Gustavus boarded a donkey-drawn trolley on 8th and Broadway, and rest is history. They threw her off the trolley, and her and her husband took it to district court. James Speed was her lawyer, and they won in 1872, 1873. That was a result of the Fox case as well. We have a podcast about this, and I would really welcome you to listen to it. It gives you more details about this. But we'll go on. I will say this, is that we, in 2011, Governor Bashir, Steve Bashir, that is, signed into law Senate Bill 64, making us a quasi-state agency. So we sit on the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet. In fact, one of our board members is here. I won't call his name out. But, you know, we have two boards. We have a state board and we have the foundation board as well. We have 68,000 square feet, and this is kind of a layout of the campus. We do all kinds of events there, events that we produce, as well as events that people come and they rent our facilities. We've had weddings, birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs, you name it, we've had it at the center, right? Prince Charles, now the king, was there. We've had people from the Dalai Lama's outfit. We've had, Michelle Obama. I can go down the list, but it's a very popular event place. And these are just some of the pictures showing you the different events that we had. We do festivals, the African Street Festival. We have Ken Clay produces his annual event there, Walnut Street Review. We have exhibits. We have 3 galleries where we have rotating exhibits, but then we have exhibits that are permanently installed as well. So Mary Cunningham Smith, this is a picture of her, Mary Cunningham Smith. And it's important that you understand this, because everybody knows who Rosa Parks is, but nobody knows who Mary Cunningham Smith is, and this is almost 100 years before Rosa Parks, all right? Mary Cunningham Smith, like I said, did something that many people in Louisville know nothing about. So this is the place where you can go for the podcast. And I would really encourage you, you can go to our website, kcaah.org, and you can connect to it there as well. And more podcasts are going to be coming out in the future. We have an event coming up tomorrow. As you can see, it's a night of film and music. We are going to have a film that's going to look at a resort park here in Kentucky that was frequented by many African Americans, and going to look at that history. That's a very short film. And then afterwards, we're going to have Big Papa Stanley. How many people have heard Big Papa? Yeah. Big Papa, if you haven't heard, if you like blues, Big Papa is the one you want to hear, right? So Big Papa and Marjorie Marshall are going to perform. And then we're going to have a performance dedicated to Mary Ann Fisher. Mayor Jerry Abramson made February 26th, Mary Ann Fisher Day in Louisville. So every year we try to do something to celebrate her. Mary Ann Fisher got her start on Walnut Street, which is now Muhammad Ali Boulevard, at the Lyric Theater, which was next door to Ed Hamilton's mother and father's barbershop. All right, which actually, if you go where the River City Bank is right now, that building is still there. And you can see the door where Ed Hamilton's mother and father's barbershop was, and also where the Lyric Theater was located. So what we're trying to do, LCC has been doing for many years, Kevin's in the house, about the history of Walnut Street. Walnut Street was our, basically, a Wall Street, if you will. They basically, the government, the powers that be at the time, pushed Walnut Street out, especially when desegregation came about, because they said, well, you can spend your money now down 4th Street when before we couldn't. So that's the reason why we had a Walnut Street. So we are telling the stories about that, and we want to first tell the story about Mary Ann Fisher. Mary Ann Fisher was I would say, she was a backup singer for Ray Charles, all right? And she was so popular in Louisville, she won a talent contest at the Lyric Theater that was run by Frank Stanley and William Sumner III, all right? And when she won this talent contest, they called her the Songbird of the South. That's how she got her name. And she became so popular around Louisville, she was working at Fort Knox. She went to pick her check up, and she was tired. She just wanted to pick her check up and come back home. All right, a girlfriend convinced her to, stay and listen to Ray Charles. So she stayed. And people in the audience, many of the soldiers, because a lot of the soldiers used to come up to Walnut Street, knew who she was, right? They called her Little Sister. And they kept hollering out to Ray Charles, let Little Sister sing, let Little Sister sing. Ray Charles wasn't having it, right? He said, this is my show, right? And then finally, they kept asking for her to sing. So Ray said, Little Sister, come on up here, what do you want to do? And so she sang, the rest is history, right? Ray Charles said, I'm coming back for you. So of course, she was running around town, everybody said, he says that to everybody, don't worry about it. A year later, he came back and then went on the road, all right? She became one of the leading, first of all, it was never done before, the backup. We had a female backup. And it definitely propelled Ray Charles's, career. They became lovers. But she didn't like the fact that he was engaged in drugs and things like that, so she left. Come see the story. It's a wonderful story. But I'm going to finish up here by just saying we also have another event coming up on Saturday. This will be part 2 of John Chenault's presentation. I hope that you can come out, or we will have these posted on our website at some point and actually be able to see them virtually as well. And then I will end with this. One of the future projects we're working on, and we're going to need the help of the community for this, is we have a space that we're calling the Oral History and Genealogy Center. Because, you know, when we're in the business of history, we have to go deep. We have to look at things from a lot of different perspectives. And genealogy is one of those, right? But more importantly, oral history is also important. Because oral history is genealogy. I mean, they're both connected. And so we're in the process now trying to find funds for updated computers. We want to create a place where people can access a database so that they can do the research and find the different files. A lot of the documents now that we had to travel to places are now online. So we want to create a way in which people can come in and actually do the research. We're working with the Reckoning Project right now. Dan Gitterman, who has a database on African American Civil War veterans, which proves to be invaluable because many of those veterans, we have their documents. We know who their names are, where they came from, and a lot of them changed their names when they came over to the Union Army, but we also know what plantation they came from, so we're able to trace them, all right? So we're able to get, a lot of information. African American genealogy is on the rise. Of course, the obstacle is the fact that much of our history has been broken. They burned our churches down. They burned down a lot of institutions. So all of that information went. But we are continuing. Part of my journey is to help in that process. I'm now working on a book called Journeys in the African Diaspora. Hopefully it'll be out by the end of the year. And I just returned from Benin, where I've traced my ancestry, and so that's what I'm doing. And I thank you again for this opportunity. I'm not sure if there's questions or what have you, but I'd be willing to entertain any questions.
So, Rotarians, if anybody has a question, please make your way to the microphone. I'll say, I think during the pandemic, I came down to your center and voted.
Right. Yeah.
And so and I will tell you, I mean, that was just, it was a great experience. But what other things goes on a daily basis or weekly or monthly or something like that we would have interaction with?
Sure. Yeah, so you're correct. One of the things that we do is we rent our facilities out for many things. We make 2/3 of our income, not just from rental, but from other endeavors as well. We have a relationship right now where we are working with schools, Central High School, the Genealogy Club. We do tours for schools that come in and we talk about the various exhibits that we have up. We have the Black Freedom Struggle exhibit, which we got funded by the National Park Service. And part of what we've done there is to highlight specific places in Kentucky, all right, in order to, when people come and have that experience of that exhibit, they can continue that experience by going out and seeing the public representation of that. We are very strong supporters of public history. Public history is it's on the rise now, but it was not that popular at one point. And public history is, I think, the critical part because we have a lot of markers and things that are out there that people walk by and never know anything about. So what we want to do is to highlight that. We have another exhibition that we call the Self-Guided Tour to Civil Rights, right? And it's a map. You can actually go online, and you can actually take the tour yourself, or we can have a docent. We have 2 or 3 docents that can take groups out. So we have a number of people who come in. We work closely with Louisville Tourism and other entities. if we have a group that comes in and they want an experience about Black history, we accommodate them. And we have a docent that retired, a history teacher, retired teachers that go out and take them around to experience that. As I mentioned before, we're working on developing our spot to be a go-to spot for people to come in and do research on their genealogy. Oral history is another piece. We are in the process of working with young people about how to conduct oral histories. And why is that important? Well, you get young people connected with elders, all right, and they begin to learn about their history, and they be a part of collecting that history, which becomes invaluable for us over time.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
So, in honor of your being our program today, the Rotary is making a $500 honorary contribution to the West Louisville Housing Initiative. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have our, get your tickets out, so we're going to draw two winners here for the D party for the DePaul School. We've got 2 tickets each, so we're going to grab 2 tickets, and each person gets 2. And there's 1.
What do I do with
Here you are. 1, 2.
me dig down?
There you go. That one says pick this one. Okay. All right. 242-0437. 0437. There we go, Pat. Hey. And 04, he did shake it around. 0426. 0426.
That must be mine.
That must be. Hey. And here we go. Zero, 411. 411. Going once. Going twice. There we go. 0399. Bingo. No. Somebody yell a number up here to me.
This is it here. This is the winner.
There you go. All right. 0387.
We have a winner.
We have a winner, Kevin. There we go. So, Lori, we thank you for these. We can get this in a second. Thank you, Aukram.
This is my buddy here.
And here we go. All right. Now, we're on our way out, so now it's time for, okay, next week, Dr. Deborah Mumford, Dean of the Louisville. We're done with you. We're all good. Thank you. Dr. Deborah Mumford, Dean of the Louisville Presbyterian Seminary, will be our speaker. You have QR codes on your table, Sparks and for making reservations. And now for WWW, it is better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. From Whitney Young. You may not always have a comfortable life, and you will not always be able to solve all the world's problems all at once, but don't ever underestimate the importance you can have, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. Michelle Obama. Many things are possible for the person who has love, even more is possible for the person who has faith, and still more is possible for the person who knows how to love. But everything is possible for the person who practices all 3, from Brother Lawrence. And we kind of go, faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. And hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible, from Helen Keller. Now, good news for you all. I'm going to be in the sunny Caribbean on a sailboat. Hopefully my buddies won't drown me, so I'll be back in 2 weeks. Barbara Sexton-Smith's going to have it. And if you haven't gotten your directory, they're over here. The What is Rotary table is over there, and the door is over there. We are adjourned.